Hi everyone. So in this video we are going to discuss about business communication. So as an introductory topic of business communication, we are going to try to understand the following concepts. We are going to first discuss on the definition of the word communication, elements, characteristics, the need and importance of having an effective business communication, the steps involved, principles, means, classification, barriers, and measures to overcome these barriers of business communication. So moving on to the first concept, the definition of communication. We all know that communication is a very integral part of human existence. Everyone communicate with each other. It's a lifeblood for any human being for that matter. An organization is no exception to it. So what is communication? The one word meaning of the word communication is exchange of ideas. So it's a meaningful interaction that happens between human beings, and it's actually exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions between two or more persons. So for an effective communication or for a communication to take place, you should need at least two persons. Having understood the meaning of the word communication, let's look on to the elements. So there are basically 5 elements of communication. The one is the sender. Sender is nothing but he is the speaker of the message. He is the one who communicates its opinion and he transmits the message. Okay. And the second element is the message. It's the information. It would be either in writing or in a spoken, and it would be simple, precise, and complete. And when the sender sends the message, it would be sent to the receiver. So receiver is the person who receives the message, he is the listener, and he is the person who understands the message. And the fourth element is the medium, which actually tells you the channel, okay, the channel through which the communication is made. And finally, feedback. Feedback means it's the reaction or the response which the receiver gives. It may be either oral or written. So these are the elements of communication. Moving on to the characters of communication. Yes, it's a two-way process. It shouldn't be one way. There is at least two persons required. One is the sender and the receiver. The second important characteristics of communication is the essentiality. It's because for a business to survive, it's an essential feature, and it is much required feature, okay, for an organization to flourish. It's an ongoing process. It doesn't happen one time and it doesn't end. It's an ongoing process. Communication is the lifeblood. It is a requirement. It would be there till the existence of human being. Generally, communications are goal oriented because we communicate any information, facts with a goal in mind. In order to attain a particular goal, we actually communicate between each other in a business process. So it should be something meaningful, it should be something goal oriented. And communication helps and promotes understanding between persons. It helps in actually preventing any misunderstanding taking place. And communication is dynamic in nature. When I call communication is dynamic, it's like keep on changing with the changing situations. So these are the important characteristics of communication. And moving on to the need and importance. Why do we need communication? Because the size of the enterprise nowadays is like large. There are more employees working. So it is the need of the hour that each and everyone is like communicated with the roles and responsibilities, what is needed from them for the organizational benefit. So this is one of the important thing why communication is needed. The second one is it develops corporate image. Yes, a company's goodwill gets promoted when there is a better communication channel exists, and it builds relationship between employees, between the boss and the subordinates. When there is more human relationship, in an effective way, it improves actually the growth of the organization both financially as well as in all means that is possible. And it updates employees. So when we communicate, it actually technically update employee as to what is the advancement in the technology and what's actually happening. So for the employees to keep on updating the employees in the organization, whether through training, whether through development, its communication is the key, and it motivates employee. So in order to motivate employees to work efficiently, to work effectively, to do smart work in the organization for the organizational benefit, communication plays a vital role. So moving on to the principles of communications. To have an effective communication, these are the principles needed: courtesy, clarity, conciseness, completeness, correctness, concreteness, and credibility. These 7 principles are principles that are required for an effective communication in a business organization. Courtesy. So the way you communicate should be polite. It shouldn't have a rude tone. Okay, so you will have to have an empathy when you speak to persons, when you communicate information. So courtesy plays an important role. So your communication should be respectful. Clarity is clarity, conciseness, completeness, and correctness. Everything talks about the communication to be in a simple language, to be made clear, okay, using of simple languages in order to actually make the communication understand by the receiver. Conciseness, it should be short. Too much of long sentences usage and too many of jargons, technical terminologies, and long sentences would actually kill the meaning of the words you actually want to speak. So you should be concise, simple, and short. Clarity, it should be very clear. Complete, all the important information, relevant information has to be done. It shouldn't be incomplete, and it should be correct. There should be no false information communicated. It should be correct information. Concrete, whenever there is statistics or whenever there is facts which need to be given, that should be given precisely. That is concreteness. And credibility, the person who actually informs or communicates, the credibility of the person is an important tool in making the communication more effective. So these are the principles of communication, effective communication in a business organization. Moving on to the means of communication, there are two means of communication. One is a verbal and the other one is non-verbal. Verbal communication, it's like writing and orally communicating things. So verbal, written, and oral communication. Written communications happen through business letters, mail, okay, and circulars. So all these come under verbal, okay, written communication. Oral communication is like via telephone, WhatsApp voice call, all such things comes under verbal communication, oral communication. So verbal, we have written and oral. Non-verbal communications are of 3 types. One is kinesics, paralanguage, and proxemics. So kinesics is wherein using of body language when you communicate things. So you could see the body languages communicate certain things to the receiver. So paralanguage is wherein the tone, the volume of what you speak, so it has to do with the language. Paralanguage uses the language, the words, the tone, the volume, the pitching. Okay, so that's going to communicate certain things to the receiver. So anything to do with the language, the volume, and the tone comes under paralanguage. Kinesics is wherein using of body languages to communicate the receiver certain things. While in we have the next one, which is proxemics. Proxemics is the word which is derived from proximity. How close you are to a certain person when you communicate also conveys things. When you are like very closer and intimate to certain persons, so when you're going to communicate in a way that you are like so intimate, that's going to communicate a different thing to the receiver. While when you're going to have a distance between a person, the proximity in which you communicate, okay, the distance in which the sender and the receiver stands when they actually communicate, so this also communicate certain things. So these are the means of communication, verbal and non-verbal. So coming on to the classification of communication, yes, there are 2 types of communication, formal and informal. Formal communication has downward, upward, horizontal and diagonal, while informal communication could be categorized as single chain, group chain, probability chain and cluster chain communication. Let's see what's formal communication. So downward communication is wherein the superiors communicating or passing on information to the subordinates, comes under downward, while upward communication is wherein the subordinates passing on the information to the superiors, while horizontal communication is wherein the communication happens between the same level of people, and the diagonal communication is wherein the communication that happens between interdepartment people. So those all come under the formal communication category. So under informal, which is otherwise called as grapevine communication, we have 4 categories. So single standard is wherein one person communicating to the other, okay, the one-on-one communication, while gossip chain is wherein one person communicating to the whole group, comes under informally, comes under gossip chain. And the third one is the probability chain, wherein the one communicates to the 2 known person, and the other 2 persons, they are going to communicate, it's going to be like a chain, okay, the communication that's going to happen in a form of a chain. And finally, cluster communication is wherein A talking on to B, C and D, and D is gonna tell the same information, pass on the same information to the person he knows, that is E, F and G. Likes it goes on like this. So these are the forms of informal communications and formal communications that happens in an organization. Moving on to the next one, which is barriers to communication. So the barriers are mechanical barriers, physical barriers, psychological barriers, semantic barriers, organizational barrier, cross-cultural barrier and interpersonal barrier. So mechanical barrier is wherein when you use a device, okay, any fault in the device comes under mechanical, okay, any technological factors, any electronical systems, the mechanisms, fault in the mechanisms of the electronic devices that you use while communicating, all those barriers comes under mechanical barrier. Physical barrier is wherein when the physical condition of the communication which is made, when there is a barrier. Say for example, when you are in a lift, when the lift is like overcrowded, you cannot actually have an effective communication with one another. So such atmosphere, such conditions, physical conditions that's going to act as a barrier to communication comes under this. Psychological barriers talks about a person's mood swings. So a person's mood swings also as an important factor, as a barrier, okay. So when a person is sad, if he is the receiver or the sender of the message, it cannot be effectively communicated or listened. So psychological barriers talks about a person's mood swings, okay, how emotional he is, when he actually be the sender or the receiver of the message, that could be a barrier. Semantic barriers talks about language barriers, okay. So when say for example, when somebody talks to you about an aircraft, he could be talking about an helicopter or he could be talking about an aeroplane, but language barrier is wherein the same word could have a different meaning. So semantic barriers talks about when the same word has a different meaning, there could be a barrier wherein persons could misunderstand facts. So these barriers, language barriers, come under semantic barrier. Organizational barriers talks about the culture that prevails in the organization in becoming an hindrance, becoming a blockage for effective communication. So like the leader, okay, how the leader wants the communication to be is he is going to be liberal, he is going to give the required freedom for the organization employees to communicate effectively, or he is going to restrict people to communicate, or how the technological advancement in the organization, is it going to help them in having effective communication or not. So the organizational structure that's going to have an impact on the effective communication. If there is any barrier out of the organizational structure, that comes under organizational barriers. Cross-cultural barriers, nowadays you could see in various organizations, we could see the employees from different culture. Okay, we have Indian working with the American, French people, okay, the British. So when there are people from different culture, that could be a barrier for them to actually have an rapport with each other and effectively communicate with each other. That becomes a problem. An interpersonal barrier is wherein when two employees doesn't like each other, and when there is going to be a communication between them, one will not listen to the other. Such type of barriers, because of the relationship that prevails between two persons, comes under interpersonal barrier. So these are the 7 type of barriers that is there in a communication. Barriers of communication. So what are all the measures that we are going to take to overcome these barriers? When we talk about technological barrier or the mechanical barriers, we can choose the right means and channels. Okay, proper mechanism, proper device, selection of such devices could effectively improve the communication. And when we talk about the psychological barriers, so we should actually cultivate as a person a patient listening and empathetic understanding when someone talks to us. So this cultivating of self about listening to someone patiently, that actually helps in overcoming the barriers. And talking about the physical barriers, yes, overcrowded places, the atmosphere also plays an important role. So conducive atmosphere have to be given to the employees in an organization to help them speak effectively, to help them communicate effectively. Okay, and we should use simple languages, no technical terms. We should make sure everyone understands what we speak. And when we're talking about cross-cultural barriers, what can we do is, as a business person, we can actually arrange for get-togethers among employees so that they build a rapport, they build a team spirit among them, so that there would be effective communication in an organization. And finally, talking about the culture, so the culture, the leadership, the leader must enable the employees to effectively communicate both formally and informally. There should be no more restrictions, and it should be in a very healthy way, and it should make sure that right, proper words, clear and complete words are used when effectively communicated. Moving on to the next concept, which is business letters. So there are various kinds of business letters that is actually used in an organization. So right from application, order letters, complaint letters, inquiry letters, reply letters, circular letters, bank correspondence, secretarial correspondence, government correspondence, insurance correspondence. So these are the various kinds of letters that are used as a tool for communication in an organization. So let's first understand what is a letter is all about. So this is how a letter looks like, and this example letter is a letter of appointment. Okay, and let's actually try to understand what are all the various parts of a business letter. So looking on to the letter, we could see actually the heading is nothing but the letter head, followed by the reference number and the date of the letter. And we have the inside address. Inside address is nothing but the to address, the recipient address, and the subject talks about the purpose why we write the letter, and followed by salutation or greeting, wherein we either use dear Angelina or Angelina or respected Angelina, whatever. Okay, and followed by the body of the letter. The body of the letter should have an introductory line, should have the message, main part, and finally the closing lines. And we will close it with a complimentary close. We will either use yours sincerely, your obediently, yours faithfully, and with the signature, the sign, and the name of the person with the designation. Followed by the enclosures. Enclosures are nothing but the attachment we attach with the letter. Okay, and we have one more element of a business letter, which is PS, postscript. If we fail to write some important point in the body of the letter, that we can include it here afterwards. So postscripts are written afterwards. And one more part in a business letter is CC. It's a carbon copy. Okay, so in any additional copy you will have to send it to one more people. So that is what we call it, CC. So these are the main parts of a business letter. Okay, so moving on to the layout of a business letter, there are three layouts of a business letter. One we call it full block method, and the other one is full indent method, and the third one is semi-block method. Full block method is wherein this is an American style of writing it, because you could see everything would be in the margin. We will not use any indentations. Okay, so everything would be in the margin. This would be like easy to type. Okay, and this consumes less time. So this full block method is the first type of business letter layout. The second type of business letter layout is full indent method, wherein you could see it's an angling style. There will be indents used. Not everything would be in the margin. Right from to address, you could see the address, it has an indent when compared to that of the other one, and the paragraphs, it would have their own indents. So it's an angling style. This consumes much time, but this full indent method is also used in business letter correspondence. And the third method is a semi-block method. It's a mixed method of both the full block method and full indent method, wherein you just could see the heading, okay, the letterhead heading, that is the name of the business which actually writes this letter, the address of the business, the date and reference number, and then you could see the to address, the subject, and you have the salutation and the body of the message, and you will have the complimentary close with the signature here, okay, and enclosures, PS and CC. Okay, so the semi-block method is a mixed set, wherein somewhere you will use the indent method, and in some cases you will use full block method. Okay, so these are the three types of business letter layouts. It's full block method, full indent method, and semi-block method. Okay, so why do we need business letters? It acts as a reference. Okay, when you actually tend to forget things, you can actually refer the letters in order to know the facts, in order to have an idea about something that's happening in business affair. And it serves as a purpose of evidence. So you can show it as an evidence for future references, and it helps in clear understanding about certain things. It helps the business organization to promote the sales of the product and services, and finally it also promotes goodwill of the organization. It helps the organization to gain reputation. So these are the functions of business letters. So in this session, I hope you had a better understanding on the need for communication as well as about business letters. Thank you.